If this guy was black and if this lady was white, their story would have been front page news. Headlines. It would have made some beautiful, captivating headlines. All the mainstream media would have been talking about it now. But because it's the other way around, sadly, that is not the case. Now, for the sake of brevity, let me just get straight to the story.
An American arrested abroad and a local church finds itself a part of the controversy. Only on KCCI, senior reporter Todd Magel just got some new information from that church. Todd?
Well, Scott, this is a pretty complicated situation. At KCCI started getting tips and emails last week regarding a missionary that's affiliated with Creekside Church in Urbandale. Now, he faces some violent accusations in Liberia, many of them accusing Richard of slitting a woman's throat. Several media outlets in Liberia are reporting Richard has been charged to try and kill a woman named Jessica Lloyd.
Now, allegedly, this guy here, his name is Lucas Richard. He's an American missionary in Liberia. He works for a church he allegedly works for a church that is called the Creekside Church in Liberia. And this lady, her name is Jessica Lloyd, a young, beautiful Liberian lady. So now this American missionary allegedly married this Liberian lady as a second wife. He has a wife. Then he married her as a second wife and they were married traditionally. But nobody is aware if the first wife knows about this marriage. But the Liberian lady, got pregnant and she informed Lucas Richard, the missionary, and he allegedly injected her with a substance and she was sick and she lost the baby. According to reports, he traveled to the US and he came back. Then he lured this Liberian lady to an isolated area where he tried to kill her. So he was caught, according to report, he was caught in the act. He was trying to slit her throat when some bad boys in the area, they came around and they met him trying to slit the throat of this lady.
On my way, I saw the women put together from the car or take the gas tank, beating on hill with it, before I ran and threw the gas in the grass, slaughtering the gas. I ran there, I tried to go to him on your troop and I drive when I push him, they get drive on the gate, he get in the car, start to get on the gate, going for the car, he hit the gate with the car, and the gate all falling, I'm going, already slaughter the gate, the blood flashing, so I ran to the gate, I actually lay on my chest.
Although I saw pictures, I have watched videos and all that, but I have not seen it on any mainstream media. No one had talked about it until I had to look for that Creekside Church. I had to look for them. So I saw a post they made on Facebook. So they acknowledged the existence of this man, Lucas Richard. The post was that Lucas Richard was robbed and they were asking people to pray for him, to be with him in prayers. This made the Liberian people to see the church as taking side with the perpetrator instead of sympathizing with the victim. So it's like a kind of misplaced sympathy. The church is now trying to disassociate themselves from Lucas Richard, saying he does not work with Side Creek Church, that he works with another church that has its own board members and all that, all those blah, blah, blah. And that the report, what they heard was that Richard was robbed, not the other way around, that Richard was the victim. You see, now, this is what happens all the time. This is a missionary who is supposed to save souls, right, to the Lord. And now he's trying to take one. He's trying to slit the throat of an innocent black woman. I don't know what the story is, but the fact that this is not news, it's not newsworthy, is what sickens me. No one is talking about it. And if it was a different case, if it was the other way around, this would have been headlines. Everyone would have been talking about it. The whole world would have been talking about it. An American missionary murdered, killed in Africa, or attempted to be killed in Africa. But because this was just some black lady, no one is talking about it. I think this should be the definition of Black Lives Matters, not all those riots, breaking of shops and all that some people did, all in the name of Black Lives Matter. Now, Lucas Richard has been arrested and he's being investigated. I really, really do hope that external forces do not try to influence the investigation so that justice should be served. And for me, I'm not surprised, because this is like a deja vu to me. It's like a deja vu, right? Because this is the same thing his forefathers did when they came with Christianity, when those other ones, the ones who crossed the Sahara, the same thing they came. They were robbing us, stealing our resources. They held us as slaves. They subjugated our lands. At that same time, they were telling us about a God of love. Our brothers were being killed, our sisters were being raped, children were separated from the families, sold as commodities. And then they were telling us to be patient, that our rewards are in heaven. I'm very happy that this story did not end the way Lucas Richard actually planned it. And Lucas is under investigation. I really, really hope that justice is served.